What is your thoughts on manifestation and the laws of attraction?
The laws or just the law?
I mean, I think there is laws, right? Like,
There are multiple laws.
I
There's
could
like
be
the law.
attracted to you. I could be, or the actual law of attraction. Like,
Right. So there's law of attraction, absolutely, and then there's the law of assumption. They kind of work together. I love it. So to me, manifestation is all about making sure that you are in alignment with the thing that you are trying to attract. Right. So that means your thoughts, your actions, your words all have to be in alignment with what you're trying to bring in, and not the thing that you don't want. Right. So when you are, talking about how you want to write a book, and you're saying, I just don't have time and I can't do it just yet, or, who's going to read it anyway? That's you being out of the alignment of what it is you really want. And so you're not going to allow in the process, the thought process of channeling the book, because that's really what this is. You're channeling the information to put it down on paper. And you're not going to be in the flow of, giving yourself that routine like you were talking about. You're not going to be in the flow of, giving yourself a deadline. So it's not going to come to fruition. It just becomes this like thing in the ether that you eventually want to have. You're just not there yet. But when you start locking in and make a decision, which is really your superpower, and it's step one in the way that I teach manifestation, you have to have a clear decision of what you want. And whether that be, I'm going to have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, or I'm going to write my book starting today, it's all the same. Like, you're manifesting stuff all the time. Like, the second you decided you want a tea and you put it in your cup, you just manifested your cup. And people think it's like this big superfluous thing, but really it all just comes down to, what is it you want? Decide on it. And once you have that decision locked in place, the step two part of it is actually out of your hands. It's trusting that it's yours, right? So it could be just a 2-second, like, of course I'm going to have tea because I have it in my house. It's there. It's no big deal. Or, and that's also a law of assumption, by the way, like holding that space where you're locking in that vibe. You're just trusting that it's coming to you. But people get tripped up with bigger things, like whether it be a book, and you're in the messy middle of a book, and you're like, is this thing ever going to end? Oh my God. Or you're in your author career and you're trying to get it off the ground, and you're in that messy middle and it hasn't quite happened yet. And you're like, is this ever going to do the thing? Like, your job in that space is to just lock in and trust that, of course, I've decided this is going to be successful for me. I've decided I'm going to earn X, Y, Z money from it. I've decided whatever the decision is. So then you keep taking inspired action steps, that's step 3, that come to you. So like, let's say it was getting the tea again. You take the inspired action step, you find the tea you want, you put it in the cup, right? You put the water into the cup too. Now you let it steep. You do the inspired action steps that feel like the next logical step until you have what you want. And that goes for anything as little as tea all the way up through your author career, through writing your book. You just keep taking those small action steps until it's yours. Does that make sense?
yeah, I think it starts with your mindset, though, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because it's like the difference between two people seeing a roadblock, like, or feeling stuck. Like, you get stuck, you hit this roadblock, and then you either manifest stopping or you manifest breaking through the roadblock.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think you have to that's what manifestation is all about. It's about getting that mindset to the point where you see the opportunities and everything, and you see that you do have control over how to live your life. And
yeah, and you can see those different perspectives. One of the things that I teach authors, so when I'm breaking down manifestation for the first time for a lot of authors, I'll use spaghetti as an example, because it's easy for people to wrap their head around, right? Like, you decide, you've made the decision, you're going to have spaghetti tonight. But when you go to the cupboard, you find out that there's no spaghetti noodles, right? And so now all of a sudden you're like, oh, I'm faced with a dilemma. There's resistance. That's your resistance level here. Okay, so I either pick different noodles. Maybe I have penne. So I'll have a penne spaghetti-ish dish. Or maybe I'm so irritated because that doesn't work for me, that you decide, screw it, I'm just gonna have tacos then because that didn't work for me. Or you're going to go, you know what, I really want spaghetti noodles. So you either go to the store or you go to a restaurant that serves it. Like, your mindset has to be so locked in that the correct solution for that moment is going to present itself. So if you decided to go to the store and get your spaghetti noodles, you come home, you take your inspired action steps to make it until you're eating it, or you go to the restaurant or do whatever. Or you can choose, because you always have that choice, to do something different, have tacos or do something completely different altogether, like whatever. But you see what I mean? So it's in the middle of things, there's always going to be a little bit of a resistance. And so you have to find what is your level of comfort for how you're going to get to the thing that you want. Do you give up and just call it quits? Or do you find a more creative solution to get around it?
Yeah, I see it as like somebody who complains a lot. Somebody who complains a lot, they're just complaining that, I don't know, nothing works out for me. I can't do this. Like, life sucks. They're manifesting more of that into their life versus the person that has the mindset of like, well, I'm gonna figure this out. I got this. Like, I know it's hard right now, but there's some way to figure it out, and there's always a different path I could take. And just seeing those opportunities when other people see roadblocks, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there.